everybody to the Single and Stilettos Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Sandra Fidelis, and she's a dating coach for women at sandrafidelis.com. And I'm so excited to have her here today because we're talking about the hot topic of 4 signs he might be a player. But before we jump into it, Sandra, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you so much for having me here. So, a little bit about me. I have been into personal development and personal growth for years, since I was a teen. And it just sort of developed into dating, mentoring, and coaching because I'm pretty fascinated with the male-female dynamic. So that is how I wound up becoming a dating coach.
So now you coach women and you give them all this great advice. So this is great. So let's jump into the first sign that he might be a player.
So, Suzanne, have you ever dated a player?
Oh, yeah. And I knew it. I knew it right off the bat, but he was hot, so I couldn't help it.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Like, who hasn't dated a player, right?
Exactly.
And so I think what happens with women is that, a few things happen. Like, one, sometimes you just don't want to see the signs, right? He's, like you said, he's so hot, you don't really want to pay attention to it. And then other times, like, they're so good at being players that, it doesn't come through. But what I always tell women is pay more attention to his actions than his words.
Yep.
Right? If his words are not congruent with his actions, there's something there. There's a red flag there that you need to really look at. Okay.
Yeah, and the greatest point there is that if he's a player, he knows all the right things to say to you and make you just like fall for him. But if he's not following through with the actions, then that's a pretty good sign he's a player.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we're really going to talk about actions today. 4 signs, but 4 actions that players usually, are out there perpetrating among our women. So, the first sign is he never, ever, ever calls you. He only texts you, right? He doesn't pick up the phone to ever give you a call. You don't really even know what his voice sounds like anymore because all he does is text. If he can't take the time to pick up the phone and give you a call, then he may just be seeing you as something casual and may not really be valuing that connection with you.
That is so true.
Right. So another really big, this is actually huge. This is a huge flag. Does he try to get in your pants too soon? Right?
And then I'm laughing because, ladies, I know you think all of this sounds so obvious, but I'm telling you, when you're in it, you don't see it. And you just think, oh, he's just really attracted to me and he's a guy. But you're right. It's a huge sign. If he's always trying to get into your pants on every single date, then that starts with the first one, ladies, too.
Exactly. And and I say too soon for your taste. Like, if you feel that it's too soon for you, and if you feel like, ooh, this is a little creepy, then, he's not vibing you. He's not really paying attention to what you need, and therefore he might be a player. And like you said, Suzanne, it's like these signs sound so obvious, but when you're attracted to a guy and he's pretty smooth, you're going at it, you're looking at him, the framework is, you're looking at it from a passionate point of view, right?
Right.
And so looking at his actions will allow you to look at him from a dispassionate point of view.
Right. And, I want to add to that point about him trying to get you to sleep with him, like, every time he sees you, is it's also because some men that aren't players try to do that too, but it's also about how he handles it when you tell him you're not ready. Because if a man pouts or he acts like a total baby, that says a lot.
Right.
If a man is respectful and says he completely understands, he may not be a player.
Exactly. Or if he just completely drops off the face of the earth, right?
Yeah.
That's a sign that he's a player.
That is true. That is true. And then he reappears, because this always happens. The player, he drops off the face of the earth, he disappears, but then he'll text you like a couple weeks later, and it's like, hey, what's up? Like nothing ever happened, right?
Nothing happened, right.
And as
neither of us have ever experienced that one, right?
Right. And I always hear ladies say, oh, he must be so busy. Ladies, I know you've done that. You're like, he must be so busy with work. That's why I haven't heard from him. Think again.
We're going to stop the excuses right now. There's no excuse.
Exactly.
Okay. So here's another one that, is probably a rare sign, but I hear come up a lot. Like, a guy will start making like inappropriate plans really quickly when he meets a woman. Like, he wants, on your first date, he's planning a trip to, like, I don't know, Dubai or something with you. Like, he wants to take you on this like crazy trip, that you would never go on with a stranger, so like his talk, like, pay attention to, what he's talking. Like, is it a lot of talk? Is it a lot of fluff? Mm-hmm. Is it a lot of smoke that he's blowing? So pay attention to that.
That's a really good point. And because some women will take that about him trying to plan this crazy trip is, oh my God, he wants to take me on a trip. They don't think about the other aspect of it, that he could be a player.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that is definitely a possibility. The last one, we touched on this a second ago. The last one is what I call the cricket treatment, right? So, do you hear that? That's crickets. Those are crickets right there.
Ladies, I know you've heard that before.
And I can you do like a sound effect where you do crickets when I did that?
Yeah, really. That's so funny. And then, ladies, I know what you're doing when you're hearing the crickets is you're checking your phone going, did he text me? Did he text me? Did he call me?
You're checking your phone like 10 times a day. You're calling your girlfriend. You're asking her, like, why isn't he calling me? Could he be hurt? Like, all of these scenarios.
Could my phone be broken? Let me check it. I'll call it myself to make sure it works.
Suzanne, text me right now. Call me right now, please. But no, the cricket treatment means that he's probably, like, dating other women.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's probably not that interested, and he might just be a little player.
It's true. And it's very, very true. And it's just, ladies, like Sandra said, stop making excuses for when these things start to pop up when you're dating a guy. Don't make excuses. He's actually telling you something without telling you something by all these signs that Sandra just gave you.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's, what I always tell women, and I'll repeat it again. Look at the actions and not so much the words that are coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, and I'm going to add in, and I wasn't even planning to do this, but I'm going to add in my own personal story about the guy that I told you that I dated that was a player, because it's really funny. He had 3 of those 4 signs that you were talking about, because I didn't even let him get to the 4th sign. But he had every one of those signs. I knew in the back of my mind that he was a player, but like I said, he was hot. But he even went so far, like how Sandra says, watch their words, but watch their actions. I mean, he was doing everything to literally tell me. He told me, he goes, I used to be a player, but I'm not anymore. And he kept trying to convince me and everything, but his actions did not match up to what he was saying. And I called him on it. And he actually told me he was offended because he wasn't. And I was like, yeah, right. So, anyways, but these have been some awesome tips, Sandra. I love these tips, and I know, ladies, I know you're gonna like start thinking about all the guys that you're dating and that have been players, but you'll know the signs to watch out for in the future.
Exactly.
So, Sandra, tell our audience how they can find you.
You guys can go to sandrafidelis.com. And also, Suzanne is going to be providing you guys with a link for a special package that I'm offering. It's a free gift. It's called the Ultimate Dating Confidence Package. And what you'll get is you'll get a report with 10 signs that he's totally into you and 10 signs that he's not into you at all. And in addition to this report, what you'll get is it's a 10-minute guided meditation download that you can use to boost your confidence before you go out on a date.
Awesome. So if you're watching the video, you can click right below on that link for the free gift. And if you're listening to the podcast, go to singleandstilettos.com and look for Sandra's show, and you'll have a link to the free gift. And thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stilettos show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you'd like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you'd like to get our free report on the top 10 secrets on what attracts a man, what turns him off, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.